Hi guys, I'm back with part 2 of this 3-part little mini series I did on a little jelly collection I wanted to play around with. This video is going to be focused on the Sprayable Jelly Toner, and I'm not going to lie, it did come out very well. So I'm going to walk you guys through my process, some pitfalls I ran into, and how I fixed them to make a product that I genuinely like using every day now, especially in the summertime. Alright, here's the formula I use, but don't get married to it because I had to end up putting a whole lot of water in at the end, so the numbers are no longer accurate. This formula is going to be pretty simple. It's all one phase, it's all cold process. I was just able to drop in each ingredient right after the other. So obviously now we're just going to start off with my water, just making sure I have the right amount here. Alright, next I'm going to add my Propendile. Propendile is really just a humectant. Glycerin is another good example of humectant, and it is in this formula too, just later on. But I like to use Propendile because it's less stickier than glycerin can tend to be. So when I create like leave-on facial products, chances are I'll probably pick Propendile over glycerin. The only reason why I use both of them in this formula, I think, is because I was using the glycerin to help hydrate the xanthan gum layer. But you don't need both, I just chose both. Alright, so now I'm going to use the specialty ingredient that I got from this formulation subscription box, and it's called NV Redentifier. It's a blend of hydrolyzed pea protein, hyaluronic acid, comfrey extract, and onion extract. And it's multifunctional. It's used to redentify the skin and the hair. For the skin, it intensifies the skin renewal process. There's antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. It supports UV protection. It helps improve the appearance of keloid scars. It moisturizes and it softens as well. And it also improves the elasticity and strengthening of the skin. The next ingredient I'm going to add is willow bark extract. I'm personally using willow bark extract because I have oily skin, and so I like that for the summertime. It's a way to control the excess oiliness that sometimes my skin can produce. However, if you didn't already know, willow bark extract is also a source of natural salicylic acid-like ingredients. Except that it doesn't have the drawbacks that's commonly associated with synthetic salicylic acid, one of those primarily being irritation. So using the willow bark extract is also a safer way to get the benefits of a beta hydroxy acid, if I was interested in things like that. There's also some mild exfoliation benefits as well with this that come from the salicylic-like ingredients that's in the willow bark extract. This next ingredient is called Queen Garnet Cellular Extract, and when I first got this ingredient, I actually thought it came from some sort of species of bees, but it's actually a species of plum, and the ingredient is just a natural antioxidant ingredient. I'm now going to insert some lotus flower extract into this. I'm really just using it because it smells kind of nice and I wanted to get rid of it. Other than that though, it is natural, and if you wanted to make like a toner, you could use something like this lotus flower extract as like a complete water replacement. Sometimes I'll do that, especially if I want to stay away from fragrances, because most of the time when I'm making facial products, I don't want to incorporate a fragrance oil because I tend to have sensitive skin. So in order to get the smell goodness, I'll use like essential waters and hydrosols and things like that for a water replacement, so I can get the mild fragrances that come with them. Alright, so now that pretty much most of my ingredients are in here, I'm now going to add the xanthan gum in order to thicken this into a jelly-like serum, but I still want it to be sprayable. I saved the glycerin for the end because it's a lot easier to slurry the glycerin and the xanthan gum together in like a wave boat or like a watch glass, because it really helps hydrate the xanthan gum. So by the time I put it in the water solution or whatever water phase I'm putting it in, it goes in seamlessly and I don't have to mix it for forever to get it to dissolve into the solution. Before I thicken this, I'm just going to quickly add my preservative in right here. I don't know if it's pronounced Euxil or Wexil. I've heard people pronounce it both ways, but it's essentially just a broad spectrum preservative, and it protects against bacteria, yeast, and mold. Euxil PE 9010 is my favorite one to use, but this one I kind of want to get rid of because I used the other one for my business. So I'm using this one, but it's the same brand. Alright, now you can see some cool little texture action. This is, I think, the preservative that just kind of form little balls down at the bottom. It doesn't mean it's insoluble. If I stirred this, it would mix up just very well. But I did think it was cool when I was pouring it, so I wanted to show you guys because these are the things that I think are cool about making cosmetics. Alright, so now I'm ready to basically make this into my jelly toner. So I'm just going to put it under my mixing blade. If I wanted to, I could stir this by hand, but I'm going to put it under here while I add in the glycerin / xanthan gum mixture. And it'll just help evenly disperse that, but this is definitely something you can do by hand too, for this particular formula. Alright, so I'm going to try to show you guys, but at this point in the game, I realized I added too much xanthan gum. I love the jelly texture that this is, and if I didn't want this to be sprayable, it would actually be perfect. It would just be a little jelly moisturizer, and I would just package it up and use it. However, I need this spray to be sprayable, and so I'm really going to have to dilute this. But I did want to show you guys the texture of what this formula alone gives you. So if you like that, then you're definitely able to copy the formula that I showed you at the beginning of the video. A little behind the scenes info, you guys are seeing a severely shortened version of this part, but I did this process of like adding a little bit of water, letting it stir, adding a little bit of water, letting it stir for like at least 30 minutes, like this section here. And I did use this little spray pump top to see how the spray goes on my glove, and so I was kind of using that to determine when I added enough water. But even after this whole day, I ended up adding like a lot of water after even this section. So those are the joys of formulating. Once I finished adding water and stirring it for like 30 minutes, this is the texture I got. And at the end of this day, I thought that I was happy with that, but I actually ended up coming back later to dilute it down even more because I really wanted to be more like a jelly mist spray. So I'll show you guys that. Okay, so here's me choosing to adjust it the next day. I had originally put it in a bottle because I thought I was happy with it, but I ended up not being happy with it. So I poured it back into this beaker, and then I just poured a little bit from this beaker into that one. See, it's really like not that thick here. And then I'm just gonna be adding a little bit of water. Don't mind my little water bottle. I am doing this in my home lab, and it's just for me. This is not how I normally do things. But yeah, I thought that maybe this might have been enough. And then I just ended up being like, F it, I'm just gonna fill the beaker up the rest of the way with water, and hopefully I can be done with this formula. I tested it out, and you can see that I was finally able to get the mist that I was going for. That's way better than what I did the day before this. So now I'm just gonna package up my little creation. Because I diluted it this much, I actually had enough for like 5 bottles. But those are good problems to have when you make your own skincare products. Here is the serum beside the jelly cleanser that I made the day prior. And another demo of the mistiness that I was going for. By the way, if you guys need gloves, these gloves are absolutely amazing. They are so durable. Whenever I need to handle hot things, my hands never get burned. It's almost impossible to tear a hole in them. I hate those other like latex ones that like I would use at work or wherever else, and even just putting them on, I would rip a hole in them, or like my hands would be wet and it would just be a pain, or there'd be powder in them and it'd break my hands out. I just hated all of that. If you guys need some like really nice gloves, these are actual medical grade. It's by Jetal Imports, and I will have that brand name in the link below, and you guys can go check them out because these are literally the best gloves I have ever used, period. All in all, this formula was a success. I had to do minor adjustments to get it to where I wanted it to be. So on that note, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!